We will make video about contractors, and
Yes.
I want to ask you a couple questions.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
We can think about building beautiful houses almost like creating a movie. You come up with an idea and see a picture in your mind. And then, one day, the idea is realized. We're talking 10 to 12 or even 15 months of work. 30 teams work on this project, with 5 to 10 workers in each team. Think about that. It takes about 300 people to build your dream home from start to finish. Today, we're going to talk to the heroes who put in the work so that you can have the house you've always dreamed of. I divide the process of creating any house into 3 steps. The first is projecting. The second is preparation. And the third is the construction and approval process. We work with a huge variety of experts like architects, designers, and structural and septic engineers. And that's just during the projecting stage. We also have to work with the government experts who issue all the permits we need to do this work. Once we're granted all the permits, we move into the preparation stage. In this stage, we'll have a lot of separate teams all working on something different. For example, when you're working in this stage, you'll need somebody to deliver the toilet to the construction site, somebody else to provide a dumpster, and somebody else to work on constructing a fence of whatever design you've chosen. On top of all those jobs, you also need a survey team to actually locate the house on site and place its position flags. All of these are super important jobs, and all of them are very different. So we need all different kinds of workers and teams to get them done. After all the preparation is done, we can move on to the construction step. Today, I'm going to walk you through these steps by talking to the experts who have a hand in making dream homes for people like you. Come on! Hey, here's our leader. Hi, Seymour. Hi. We're making a video to help our viewers understand the process of building a house like this. And I have a question for you. What do you do as supervisor? Where do I begin? Let's think about new construction sites. My first job as supervisor is to figure out everything we're going to need at the site. A waste bin, bathrooms, and so on. Then, I have to start looking into contractors. I know some really good ones that I've worked with in the past, and they're great. But we're always growing. And part of that is to always be looking for new contractors. You meet with the contractors to negotiate and schedule their work every single day. What would you say is the hardest part of communicating with these contractors? The biggest challenge is getting them to take responsibility. So many contractors don't keep their promises from day to day, and some of them will even leave us high and dry and not show up at all. Working through problems like this has taught me that you should always contact them. Don't be afraid to call them, remind them, and make them stick to deadlines. It's actually a big part of my daily job, just to be keeping in touch with these guys all the time. Can you tell us anything about why this happens? This might not be a problem everywhere. I think it has a lot to do with the specifics of the local market here in Austin. Are the contractors overloaded? Oh yeah, they're absolutely overloaded. They try not to give up any of their contracts, so instead, they show up late, and they don't end up having enough bandwidth to execute all projects they commit themselves to. So, some of us just don't end up getting the work we were promised. We're actually at an advantage though, because we have long-term relationships with some contractors here. So they try to be on schedule and put our projects first. The construction stage has several steps, and some of them can be done in parallel. For example, the first one, which is the basement construction stage, requires a plumber and an electrician to fix the pipes and wires under the basement. It's best to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here by getting these jobs done simultaneously and saving yourself some time. But there are limits to stuff like this. Obviously, you can't be working on a frame or windows at this stage. Some things still need to be done in order.
Johnny, hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
It's good. Thank you, sir. Good. Thank you, sir.
My question about what is your role in project and house when you built this house?
I am a supervisor for ProCell Electric, and I also run the jobs and make sure that everything is getting done. And also we provide power, temporary power to be fed to the house, and also for the construction work also.
Okay, where is your role begin and where is your role finish?
My role begins with actual plans, giving the bid out, making sure that all our questions are answered, how the customer wants the job done. And then I oversee all the job, and I also do all the job, the wiring, installations, and then after that, then we come back and trim it out, put on the switches, the outlets, the fixtures, the appliances, and more than that. I usually have four people on my team.
Damn.
Well, the reason why I like four is because there's a lot to do, and I can overlook three guys plus me. I can see what they're doing, so the work will be done in a good way, in a professional way. I've been a master electrician for over 30 years, and like I said, when I do a job, I do the job like it's my own home.
After the basement construction is done, we get started on the next stage, making a frame. Once the frame is done, we get to work on something really interesting when we move to the next stage. For this part, what we're doing is closing a house by placing doors and windows to allow the next team to actually enter the house and do some internal work. It is not enough to fix windows and doors to close a house. You should also make sure to put up a roof so you don't have problems with water entering the home as you build it. Only after all these things are taken care of do we actually get to move on to the internal work stage.
Hi Chris.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good.
Good. Could you share, please, what is your role in project usually?
To perform all the plumbing needs and drain water. My role starts in the ground in the very beginning. They put in the forms and I put in the plumbing, and then I'm usually the last one in putting the toilets in.
Okay, when house almost done, you install toilets, sinks, and
When the water heaters.
and do final inspection, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you share with us what is the most difficult challenge was for you in your experience?
Probably this metal house at the moment.
This house, why?
It's just not normal. Just not the norm, I guess, as far as residential is concerned.
Did you met it first time here?
I do a lot of commercial plumbing
Commercial, yeah.
also, so that's where I see metal at usually. But
Okay.
this is interesting.
You decide on a definite route with a contractor before allowing them to enter the site. How many people or companies do you negotiate with before actually starting work on site? Oh, it's a painful process. Our last project is a prime example. We're going to make a driveway there. I kid you not. I've invited 8 different contractors to do this job. All 8 promised to finish it on time. Now, 3 of them don't even answer my calls. Now I've met with one who promised me they're gonna do the job, and I really hope they actually start working on it. But it's like pulling teeth trying to get anyone to commit and follow through. It takes insane levels of time and effort, even just to make these preliminary preparations. We're always meeting, calling, and negotiating with people, sending them stacks of documents, and giving them details just to get estimates from them. But even when we get an estimate from them, there's no guarantee that they're going to finish the project or even start working. So the working process is actually shorter than its preparation stage. Yes, the preparation takes way longer. Hey, Yura, we've caught one more contractor. My work on this project is fixing wires for the internet and cable TV. My role is to find good suppliers and make sure materials are being delivered in a timely manner. One small but really important recommendation: you should always order materials in advance. Today's supply chains are badly disrupted. I order all necessary appliances 4 to 6 months early. And I order the materials 2 to 3 months early as well. This time frame allows me to finish construction in 8 to 10 months. Concerning the internet and TV wires, why don't electricians fix them? Why do we need a special company for this? Well, that's a good question. In many European countries, an electrician actually does do this job. But here in the US, you need a separate contractor called a low-voltage specialist. They do media and alarms, and you need a special team to do all this work. There's no need to have a license? No need. No required standards either. Those things are negotiated between a client and a supplier. Okay, I understand. And what would you say is the biggest challenge you've had to face? Well, the biggest challenge, or when something was really hard to work through. The biggest challenge is having to fix wires in a big house. So, just its size can make it harder? Yeah, you have to set them up. And then when something gets stuck, you have to deal with those problems one at a time. But another challenge could be a house structure. For example, everything is closed in this house, and it's hard to fix the wires here. When everything is open, like a V-shape, it's much easier. Why do people need wires? Today's wireless technologies don't require them. That's another good question for the year 2022, when there's such a big push for everything to be wireless. But in fact, wires are actually really advantageous for speed and reliability. You should also know that having too many wireless appliances causes a mix of frequencies that can interrupt each other. Say you have a Bluetooth device, a Wi-Fi device, a red device. The signals will start conflicting with each other, sooner or later. Some steps can be done parallel with external work at the internal stage. For example, when plumbers, electricians, wire and air conditioner fixers work inside, the stucco, plaster, or hardy panel workers can be getting their work done outside at the same time. Again, taking this approach speeds up the process. When all electric, plumbing, IC, and internet works are finished and approved by inspection, you are close to a pretty exciting point: flowing foam and covering with drywall. From there, you can move on to the decoration stage. For this part, you're going to have people working on plastering, floor covering, fixing doors, and working on the kitchen, and setting all interior appliances. The outside works like driveway, landscape, septic, or survey works can be finished simultaneously. This way, you get your projects done faster. We can usually manage to complete projects within 8 to 10 months, just by having our teams work parallel to each other whenever they can. And the last question: what's the highest and the lowest price you've seen for similar jobs? Well, you can have one price that's double or triple another. For example, our current driveway contract has been estimated 3 times lower than the last contractor we negotiated with, and both were given similar requirements. It depends entirely on the contractor. If they're very busy with other contracts, it will be a lot higher. That's a free and democratic society. Welcome to the USA.
What the project was the most difficult in our story?
Our story right now, I think, is this house right here. Yes, for right now. The reason why this one's a challenge is because it's structural and metal. And a lot of the metal, it does come with pre-hose, so we can run the wire, but a lot of it is not. So we have to challenge ourselves. How are we going to get the circuits running? How are we going to get the wires run to the right place? This house has a lot of beams in it, and it's been a challenge, but we're almost there.
Contact me if you want to avoid the nightmare of construction, contractors, incredible estimates, and prices. I build customized and for sale homes. You can find my contacts in the description below this video. Subscribe to my channel. Good luck!